This is not surprising to those who understand water resources management in Iran. Iran has always had droughts and floods, but it's surprising when you lose the memory of floods after years of drought.
And do you think that that is institutionally what the authorities have done, that they have forgotten that floods come round and that they haven't prepared adequately?
Both the citizens and the decision makers have got surprised with the floods. For years, they have been complaining about lack of rainfall and water shortage in the country, and all the attention has been on finding other sources of water. And now there is a lot of water that cannot be controlled. One important thing that is overlooked in these incidents is the fact that Iran is suffering from anthropogenic changes, the way that land use planning has changed, where the cities have been built, and the people who have got too close to riverbeds and river valleys, and all these places have got flooded at a moment. So definitely these damages could have been reduced, but the amount of rainfall has been huge and unprecedented in recent history of Iran.
Right. I mean, those changes to land use and maybe the lack of foresight and planning is something one hears about across the world. Are you saying that it is particularly acute in Iran, though?
It definitely is. Water management is not all about managing a shortage. Good planners also prepare themselves for incidents like this, but lack of regulation, foresight, and supervision and enforcement of existing laws and rules have caused development in wrong places. And it is so sad to see people going through all these problems. And normally in disasters, you have the poor who suffer the most from the disaster. And after every disaster and crisis, you always look back and say, you could have done better. You could have avoided all these costs and troubles.
You were involved in a senior position in the Department of Environment until last year when you decided to leave. Do you feel that voices such as yours, I mean, I don't know how far you were warning about this concern in particular, but that people who were raising questions were being listened to?
I myself did a lot of interviews and gave a lot of speeches in which I tried to remind both the decision makers and citizens that Iran would not have drought forever, because everyone was talking about a permanent drought and a new normal. But unfortunately, lack of knowledge and political management of water has caused a lot of these damages. And now we're not learning much, because in the past few days, all we hear is that we need to build more dams and more water control infrastructure, which can be destructive to the environment. Right now, we see that the environment is quite happy. The ecosystem is benefiting from the lack of power to control all the water. Some of the wetlands are alive again, but people are suffering.
In terms of the rescue and recovery operation that's underway, the Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has tweeted that it's being hampered by international sanctions. How far do you think that is correct?
First, we have to remember that crisis management is not all about post-crisis. We could have reduced the damages and we could have avoided a lot of this. But yes, post-crisis management is an issue, and lack of equipment is a major thing. Right now, they're suffering from lack of access to helicopters, for example, and a lot of other things. A lot of people are asking me how they can help the Iranians with transferring money to Iran. So financial aid seems to have been blocked by the sanctions, and humanitarian aid is in trouble with all the things which are happening to Iran, which is very sad, because people should not be suffering from the sanctions which are supposed to be targeting only governments.